I'd like to invite up Atatan's cousin, Sreekanth.
For those people who don't know me, my dad and Joey uncle are first cousins. They grew up together. They are from the same age group. And they shared a lot of common interests, especially the subjects of which they like, the topics, the politics, history, religion, the geography, science, a lot of things. So, okay. Thank you. So Joey uncle came to USA. Before I was born, or almost the same time I was born. So, but his name was always there at home. So my dad always mentioned his name. When I grew up, I heard that name very often. And I would like to share a few really, really nice, memorable things about Joey uncle. So at my home, I had like a typical Kerala home. We had a steel alamara, the big shelf. So the one of the shelf, so it was, my dad kept his private things there. So we kids did not have any direct access. We hardly had, we did not know what it was inside. And my dad passed away in 2008 unexpectedly. So after his passing, my sister and I decided to go through his belongings. So we opened the shelf, and there were a lot of things, like the bank statements, this and that, and he was running a store, so a lot of things were there. But in the corner of that shelf, right, there was there's a bundle of air mails. Do you remember the days we used to write letters? So, and he kept it there, the corner of his shelf. So my sister and I decided to go through those air mails. So most of them were from Joey uncle. So those letters from, if I remember correctly, from 1981 till the early 1991. And sorry, Joey uncle, we went through all of those emails, all of those air mails. So it was so nice when, Tommy uncle, there were around or more than 20 air mails actually. So it was a lot, he wrote a lot of things about his family, the places where the Joey uncle visited. So obviously, of course, American politics a lot. And the American election campaigns, which we don't really see it, and it was in 80s and 90s. And a lot of things about, I think it was a time of, if I remember correctly, it was from the Ronald Reagan until the George Bush Sr. Like we saw all those things, like what he described, all those things there. And all of a sudden, it stopped at kind of 1992 or 1994. So then we kind of guessed what it was, because that was the time we got our landline, that means or telephone at home. So from that time onwards, they could talk. So that is amazing to see, even when we checked at 2008, when my dad passed away, everything was there, so he kept it. I would like to share another incident. I came to USA in 2006 through an Indian IT company with a work permit. Okay, I like the money, but The question is that the status in USA, like most of us know, like the status with the work permit, we have very little freedom actually. So I was looking for a permanent status. So one of the option was in front of me was moving to Canada. So I asked around, like about, I didn't know anything about Canada other than I could move there with a permanent status. Even though Canada is a neighboring country, very few people knew anything about the Canada. So then I talked to Joe Engel. So this guy knew a lot of things about Canada. So about politics, all the provinces in Canada, all kind of things. And interestingly, he encouraged me to do that. And he liked the idea. And then there was the next step. I think I was around 26 or 27 at that time. But still, because since I'm from India and I need to get permission, even if from my permission in the sense I need to get like yes from my dad, the note from my dad that this is okay, he can move to Canada. So I tried to convince him, like my dad, okay, this is what I need, I would like to go to the Canada. No, he said that is not the best decision. So you are an IT professional, so you have to, the US is the best place for you. Then at the end I told him, Joe Engel likes my idea. Then there was a silence. And my father-in-law questioned my decision after that. And I still believe that was one of the best decisions I have ever made in my life. Then another thing is that, so before the Google Maps or the government GPS or the TomTom GPS, there was a time like people used to use the printed maps. So, and we I think in here relied on the Rand McNally road atlas, I believe. So what happened when we visit back home in Kerala, like we buy a lot of gift, a lot of things, but like how many of us would take one of these, Rand McNally atlas, road atlas for somebody in Kerala? So Joe Engel did twice. I think one was in late 1990s and another updated version in early 2000. So I have, and interestingly, my father never stepped out of India, so he has no idea, but that's the map of the North America. And I have seen several times my dad go through these maps. The reason is that after, we can quite often see that Joe Engel call him early in the morning and they discuss a lot of things. And so he can connect like what he's talking about, right? Yeah, so then later, when 2008, when I decided to move to Canada, so I need two people, the Matheson uncle, Kyle Matheson uncle, and Joe Engel helped me a lot to plan and to do things. And so I was in San Diego, and the plan was to drive till Toronto. So I had to drive all the way from San Diego to Chicago and stay there for a week and then move to, continue to Toronto. That was my plan. So both of them advised me that, okay, what do you need to do when you travel from there? I wanted to visit several places too on the way to Chicago. So they advised me that, okay, you need to start early in the morning and you have to find a place to sleep before the sunset. Don't drive in the night. So that was their advice. So Joe Engel, it took 4 days to get to Chicago. Joe Engel called me every evening, So he make sure that I was okay, like, and he was taking the weather, all kind of things, like all kind of update was there. Then later, when I talked to my dad, I had to talk to in the night. When I talked to my dad was already updated. So okay, Sreekanth is here. Sreekanth is this is everything is okay. And interestingly, my dad knew everything. Like I think I took I-40, then I-44 or something like. I forgot. Like it was a long time ago. So, but he clearly knew that where I was, which state, which part of the state. Like I was surprised too. So then I asked, like, how do you know? Like because a lot of places are in USA. So what Joe Engel did after he talked to him, he talked to me. When he talked to him, these guys looks like even if he was here, they sat together and went through this map. Like okay, this, I'm here, so he could. My father could see the exact spot where I was. Like, so that is so interesting. Like how these people worked. Then even recently, we used to talk like once in a month, once in 2 months. And recently, he used to talk recently a lot about his time, like 1960s, 1970s, and about himself and the cousins, relatives. Obviously, he cannot get away. But the politics was part of the. I really love politics too. So, he basically introduced the Kerala politics of from that time. So I had really little idea about that times. One of the surprising thing I noticed, even I think it was probably 2-3 months ago. He even probably from the people from the time of Joe Engel may understand. That was a time of a long time before, the P.T. Chacko. I think it was. I think it's a CM Stephen, like at that time. So he, clearly remember. He was present one of the speeches of the CM Stephen, and he was there, and he still remember what he spoke at that time, what he could clearly reiterate. That was amazing. Amazing guy, like. I'll miss him. Thank you.